Welcome to Co-op Guild, this is Steve with a jump start for Leviathan Wilds. This video will provide a quick overview and rules explanation of the game. In Leviathan Wilds, players will be climbing all over Leviathan, trying to remove or damage these crystals, remove them from the Leviathan. If all of the crystals are removed from the Leviathan, it is cured from the disease and players win the game. A player will be eliminated anytime their health or their blight values reach to the same space on their player board. When this happens, that player is eliminated. All other players have one final round to try to win the game, and if they aren't successful, all players lose the game. The first thing to do in this game is to reveal a threat card. The threat cards are these 5 cards, which represent the AI of the Leviathan. Now note, some of these cards may be enraged, as indicated by the blue face on top, or regular the purple face up top. This will be described later in the video. The first thing a player will do on their turn is reveal a threat card. This threat card will not be resolved immediately. The active player will take their turn, and then at the end of their turn, this threat will be resolved. Thematically, you can think of this as these large Leviathans moving very slowly, so you have time to react before the effects take place. The first thing a player will do on the turn is choose to play one of the cards from the hand. They will take this card and they will tuck it into this slot of the board. The number in the top left corner of the card indicates how many action points they can spend that turn. Any symbols below the card are the protection icons, which indicate which threats you can ignore during your turn. The actions a player can take there on their turn are indicated by this area here. There's various actions which we'll run through right now. There are also some anytime actions that can be done during their turn or outside of their turn. The most basic action in the game is to climb, and that's moving from one node to another node that can be in any orthogonal direction. The next action is to jump to, which allows you to move 2 spaces ignoring the space you skipped over. Gliding will allow players to move downwards in a diagonal direction or straight down. Players may also spend actions to strike a crystal, which will drop the health of that crystal down that same value. When enough damage has been dealt to a crystal to move to 0, remove that dice from the board, and you are one step closer to winning the game. The purple crystals are normal and have no additional effects. However, the teal pick crystals are considered blighted and have an additional effect when you strike them. After striking a teal crystal for any amount of damage, that player will need to move their blight cube 1 space to the left. Remember, if their health and blight cube ever reach, that player is eliminated. Let's take a quick moment to talk about the special spaces on the Leviathan. Any spaces that are marked in yellow when a player moves onto them will lose 1 grip. Grip is indicated by your deck here. Anytime you lose grip, you'll take the top card of a grip deck and place it into your discard pile. This is important because at any time you do not have any deck remaining, you do not have any grip, and that will cause your character piece to immediately fall and continue falling. A falling piece will move straight down until it strikes a ledge. Any spaces they move over will trigger their negative effects as they fall. In order to stop that from happening, players can find a ledge on the board, in which case they can spend 2 actions to rest. Resting will take their discard pile, shuffle them together, and place them underneath your deck, refilling your grip. If a player moves over a space with a red marker on here, they will take 1 damage. This is indicated by moving their health marker 1 space to the right. The last action a player can do is spend 1 action to heal, moving the marker 1 space to the left. Some of the other actions you can do free at any time is to play the card to do the bottom effect. This example will let the player climb 1 space. There may be additional keywords which are detailed in the back of the rulebook. As players climb around the Leviathan, they may encounter mushroom spaces. If you encounter a mushroom, simply take that token, simply reveal that token, and place it beside you. You can spend this token anytime to do the effect indicated. Players may also toss a mushroom piece to another player if they're within 3 spaces of each other. The final action players can do at any time is to let go, and that simply is to fall straight down until you find the next ledge. Of course, triggering any effects of spaces you move into on the way down. After players finish their actions, they will simply discard their action point card. It's at this time is when the threat card will then resolve. Some of the cards like this one may use a targeting indicator. This targeting indicator is placed when the card is revealed for the first time, but as players take their actions, they may be able to move and that targeting indicator stays where it is. That's important because at the end of a player's turn, that effect is resolved. It's at that point that the hit pattern indicated on the card would affect all characters in those spaces. The final step of a player's turn is to draw up to 3 cards from their deck to refill their hand. Now it's on to the next player's turn by revealing the next threat card and continuing the sequence. Once the final threat card has been resolved, it's time to end the round, in which case you will take the threat cards, gather them together, shuffle and deal out a new row. Then you will advance the marker 1 space, and then enrage the cards or flip the cards that are indicated underneath the marker's location. In this case, we flipped the 2 leftmost cards. Play will continue just as normal with revealing the next threat card. The last thing I'll mention is the focus token, which begins the game face down, but you may be able to, at some point, flip it face up. Once face up, you can spend it to modify the effects on the bottom half of the card by 1, meaning that I can change this choose 1 value to choose 2, and then choose 2 of the results below. Or I can change a climb 1 to a climb 2, for example. I hope you found this jumpstart useful. Thanks for stopping by the guild.